Today we are going to learn to take a limit of a function at a point. So we have taken a random function f of x equal to x square plus 1, and we take a point x equal to 1. So in the graph we can observe that as we approach 1 from the left hand side, we can see that the value of the function tends to 2, and similarly from right hand side, if we approach 1, our function's value gets closer and closer to 2. So limit at x equal to 1 of the function x square plus 1 is equal to 2. So this is the basic definition of the limit, which says that if we want to find limit at say x equal to p, whenever the values of x tends to p and the function's value f of x gets closer and closer to L, we say that the limit at x equal to p is L. Again we have taken a random graph, and we will find the limit at the point P. So here, as we approach P from the left hand side, we can see that the function's value gets closer and closer to L. Similarly, from the right hand side, we get the same thing, that is, as x approaches p from the right hand side, the function's value get closer and closer to L. Now we will see the epsilon delta definition of limit. So again we have taken a random function, and we want to find the limit at x equal to p, which is this point. So first what we do is take a delta neighborhood around p. So its interval would be p minus delta and p plus delta. Now we will find the function's value at p minus delta and p plus delta, which I have shown here. This is f of p minus delta, and this is f of p plus delta. Let's say that the distance between f of p plus delta and f of p minus delta is epsilon. Now one thing to observe is, here if we take any x between p minus delta and p plus delta, the difference between the distance between x and p, this is my x between p minus delta and p plus delta, and this is p, their distance would always be less than delta, which is this distance. So this is what I have written here, that for all x which belongs to the interval p minus delta and p plus delta, the distance, which is mod x minus p, will always be less than delta. Similarly, if we take any f of x between f of p plus delta and f of p minus delta, we will get, let's say this is our f of x, and this would be the distance between f of x and L. And from here we can see that this distance is less than epsilon, and this is what I have written here, which says that mod of f of x minus L will always be less than epsilon. Now we come to the actual definition, which says that we can say that L is a limit of the function at x equal to p when for all epsilon greater than 0 there exists delta which is greater than 0 such that mod of x minus p less than delta implies f of x minus L is less than epsilon, which simply means that as we decrease the delta neighborhood of p, the epsilon neighborhood, which is this, will get smaller and smaller and get closer and closer to L. So we are decreasing the value of delta, and if we decrease the value of delta, the epsilon's value should also decrease. Now we are going to see the theorem, which statement says function's limit at a point is unique, which means that at any point we can't have two limits. So we prove this theorem by contradiction. So we are assuming that there is a function f of x which has two limits, L and n, at x equal to p. Now we apply the epsilon delta definition of limits to this point. So what we will get is, for every epsilon greater than 0 there exists delta greater than 0 such that when x mod of x minus p is less than delta, we get mod of f of x minus, here we put the limit L, which would be less than epsilon, and as we know we have assumed two limits, so the second equation would also, second inequality would also come. Now let's consider mod of L minus n. We will add and subtract f of x from this. So and now we use triangle inequality, and our equation would be mod of L minus f of x plus mod of f of x minus n. This equation would always be greater than this. This is what triangle inequality says. Here let's take an example which shows us that mod of f of x minus L is same as mod of L minus f of x. So I have assumed here f of x as 3 and L as 5. So we first subtract f of x minus L. Here what we get is 2, and now we will subtract L and f of x. Here also we get 2. So what we modified in the equation is right. Now from our first equation, we know that mod of f of x minus L and mod of f of x minus n is less than epsilon. So this is what we substitute here. So epsilon plus epsilon, which should be equal to 2 epsilon. So our mod of L minus L is always less than 2 epsilon. And as we know that this number epsilon is greater than 0 and arbitrary, which means that epsilon can be taken as any number greater than 0, which means epsilon can be 0.1, 100, anything. So this equation, which is mod of L minus n, should be satisfied for any epsilon, which means it should be satisfied for any real number, any positive real number like 0.1, 100, 200, anything. As we know that epsilon is always greater than 0, so we can equate mod of L minus n and 0, which means that mod of L minus n is equal to 0. Then only for any epsilon this equation would be satisfied, because we know that 2 times any positive real number would always be a positive real number which would be greater than 0. So if we put epsilon as anything like 0.0001, 0.00001, this inequality would always hold. So what we have gotten here is that L minus n is equal to 0, which implies that L is equal to n, and our assumption is proven to be wrong, that L and n are 2 distinct limits at x equal to p. So we have proven our theorem, which says that function's limit at a point is unique.